technology up and going, then we'll go ahead and get started, okay? Going?
Hi everyone. So we're gonna start in a minute or two. So
yeah, I got 1 minute.
Yep.
Start on time. Over here. So first of all, look at this big group of people on a rainy Friday. I am so impressed. This is a big group. So welcome. If you haven't met me, my name is Amy Smith. So Sue accepted a position. She's out there traveling the world, and she's actually become a surveyor, a site survey for bariatric centers. So we're very excited for her to have that wonderful opportunity. And so I've taken over the role of the bariatric program manager here, and I'm super excited to be here. And we're working on some really cool things kind of behind the scenes to bring to you guys for support services. A little bit about my background. I've been in the world of bariatrics for about 10 years. In my previous program, I helped to take care of over 600 weight loss surgery patients. And so I'm very passionate about this program, and I'm very excited about some of the changes that we're working on. So a few things that you need to know about is actually if any of you come to the meeting that normally would happen next Tuesday, that meeting is canceled for right now, just temporarily for this month. I actually sent out an email last night to talk about the changes with support group dates and times. And so I know some of you may have gone upstairs to the upstairs suite 260, but we're going to begin starting today having our support group in this larger room. It's called the Blue Ridge Room. It's suite 125. So if you come in the A entrance of Linear Park, it is the room right here. You guys know, but for those online, it's the room as soon as you come in to the right. So we actually have some work to do in this room. We're actually going to have the tables that you're currently sitting at. We're going to have these tables removed from the room just on this side because coming up, and you'll see an email come out with a registration opportunity, one of the first things that we're going to add is a yoga class. So I have a yoga instructor that we have secured, and we hope to offer this on a monthly basis. And so March the 18th will be the first opportunity for that. But she's going to come before support group, and she's going to offer that yoga class. It's completely free to our patients. And so if any of you know anything about yoga, what I love about it is yoga is all about accepting you in your body where you are right now, and just self-care, self-love. It's about letting go of negative emotions and thoughts and really being positive. But it's a really good way to introduce exercise because it's not really, really hard on the body. It's light exercise. It's not real big in for yourself because it's really relaxing. And so a lot of our patients maybe have never experienced yoga, so it's going to be interesting and fun. We just got all of our yoga mats in. We've got some yoga blocks that make it easier, so if you're not able to reach all the way down to the ground, we've got some supportive devices. What I love about this yoga instructor, her name is Tessa, is that when she's teaching her yoga class, if she does a yoga pose that's maybe a little bit hard for some of the people in the class, she will offer an alternate way of doing it so that you still get to benefit from that. So that will be on March the 18th. Stay tuned. Either today or Monday we will be sending out a link, and it'll be live on our page so that you can go and register for that. Another really interesting opportunity that we have coming up is we have secured a beautiful cooking kitchen that is over at the South Patient Tower on the main campus in Gainesville. It's on the second floor. When we send out this information, it will completely include everything about where to park, how to get to this place, but it's gorgeous. It is truly a chef's kitchen. And so I have a chef that's local that has done bariatric cooking classes before. His name is Chef Clint, and he will be coming to teach that so that you guys can learn some really good recipes. We hope to, again, incorporate this potentially on a monthly basis. However, if you don't know, our sweet Giselle actually has a degree in the culinary arts, and so my goal is to introduce chefs that professionally do this all the time to come in and do some of these classes, obviously with Giselle's support, but Giselle will be doing a lot of these cooking classes, and we'll just have some guest chefs come in every now and then. And so I think the first chef class that we're going to have, a cooking class, is going to be on March the 28th, and again, that's one that we will send out. You'll be able to register through our website because we have to have a maximum head count, right? So we know how much food and things to do and how many people to count on. And so we've got some really interesting and fun and engaging opportunities for you guys for supportive services. Another thing that we've got going on in our area up in Suite 260 is that we're going to be going through some renovation in our space so that it's going to better accommodate our group, but as well we're going to be adding a clothing closet so we can have donated clothes brought in, and so I saw some bags upstairs yesterday. Whoever brought that, thank you. And so we will have an area where you guys can go and shop through gently used clothes. We will have a private changing area where you can try clothes on, you can see how it fits on you. The thing about weight loss surgery is our patients change rapidly. And so you'll hear us sometimes, we'll go, might want to check out the clothing closet. Your pants are baggy, your shirt's baggy, right? And so it'll give you an opportunity so that you can find a space where you can shop. It's no cost to you, and it's just a way to help you get through this massive weight loss journey, right? Because you change so quickly, especially over the first 6 to 12 months. So it will be a good way to assist you in that. So I'm going to pass out the flyer. I did send this out yesterday, but this one is specifically speaking to the monthly support groups that we will have. And so just notice that all of them will now be in this location. You guys don't have to worry about going upstairs anymore. We can accommodate more patients in this space. But I'm going to send this out. You will note on here that I have eliminated one of the morning support groups. So pay attention to that one. So this one will stay, but the one that was offered later in the month, we are going to take that one away. The reason behind that is because it will free our team up to offer some of these really cool opportunities that we're doing with the exercise and the cooking classes. And so a little bit of change, but I think it's for the better. And any questions about the changes? Anybody have questions about me? I know it's a big change with Sue leaving. I know a lot of people, had gotten really super attached, and Sue is just one of those people that just loves to love on people, and so I just want to be super sensitive to that piece. Any questions that you have? Yes.
Hi, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's your name?
My name is Amy Smith.
Okay. And how do you get the emails?
If you are not already on our email, I'll bring the sign-in sheet to you, and you can write your email address on there, and I can definitely add you to that. Yeah. Perfect. I'd love to get it. Love to get that and add you back. Any other questions before I turn it over?
What if you don't have an email address?
If you don't have an email address, so I'm going to give you the flyer today, so this will at least give you this piece. I can write down the dates and times of the cooking and yoga classes. Do you have internet access at all?
No, you'd have to mail it to me.
Okay, well, let me ask you, here's another thing. I can get your street address, but do you have any family members or friends that maybe I could put their address in and they can keep you up to date? So maybe you and I can coordinate on something special for you, okay?
All right.
All right, anything else we can think of? All right, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Giselle and let her get down and dirty with the topic of today is?
Managing weight loss plateaus.
Love it. Okay, good. This is a good topic. All right.
Alrighty. Okay. For the YouTube streaming people, my name is Giselle. I'm a registered dietitian here at the Bariatric Weight Loss Center. I'm not the dietitian that works at the clinic. I'm more of another resource for you guys. So if you ever are interested in talking to me in person, you can find our phone number in the non-surgical weight loss tab in our website, and go ahead and give us a call, and they'll put you in contact with me. All right, so let's get started. For the people that are here for the first time, I like to make this, yes, and I think there's a couple more. Pre-op, how many pre-op? Yep, okay, yeah. So if this is your first time here, you know, I want to not have to talk that much. You know, I want to really hear your feedback, your experiences, your thoughts on these questions that I'm going to bring up to you today. The pre-op patients, I think, benefit a lot from listening to what the post-op patients have gone through. So I would love for you guys to you know, give me your thoughts and ideas, and don't be shy to speak up. This is very informal, so you don't have to raise your hand. I mean, we're all adults here, so just wait until someone finishes their thought, and this just very informal, okay? All right, so let's get started. So weight loss surgery, but then that weight from fairly rapidly starts to slow down a bit, and patients might get a bit frustrated. They're wondering if the surgery is even working for them, and they start having a lot of questions, and that's why I think it's important to bring this topic up. And that's why I think it's important for the pre-op patients also to be here and be able to listen to this, because I think that it's good to have realistic expectations about weight loss, and also know how to manage when the weight loss does slow down a bit. You know, what can we do to continue that weight loss? Okay, so a question for the post-op patients. Tell me about your weight loss expectations before surgery, and did those expectations meet, you know, the reality post-surgery?
Hi, I'm 17 months out from
Okay.
having my, having bariatric surgery. I was expecting to lose a little bit more than what I lost.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I would say I've been maintaining it now for like maybe about a year. Like you said, in the beginning, it comes off, you know, but then it was like, I felt like I kept hitting like a plateau.
Right.
So, what I've started doing is now exercising,
Mm-hmm.
at least 3 times a week.
So is that more than what you were doing before? Are you saying that you bumped up the exercise, or?
I didn't bump up the exercise because I still have a problem with my knee.
Okay.
You know, it's not easy for me to get to a gym. I have a treadmill at home.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing an intense incline, I just kind of just keep it, you know,
Consistent.
yeah, so that this way, but I know that I'm not burning as much as I would if I did a high incline.
Right.
But, you know, with me having problems with my knee and stuff, I know the doctor told me that, oh, you could probably get, you know, if you go to the gym, you can go and get on a stationary bike.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be better,
Right.
you know, for your knee. But I don't have time to get to a gym. But I know I want to get some sort of exercise in.
Right.
So that's what I've been, because before I was doing it, then I stopped, and so now I'm just, you know, just trying to get, you know, situated and back on, because it's, you know, it's difficult.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
how?
every day is a struggle.
Right. And how does that make you feel? You know, how do you feel now compared to how you felt when you were having more of that rapid weight loss?
I feel a little defeated, because I'm like, okay, it came off pretty quickly in the beginning, and now it's, you know, I keep hitting a plateau.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm just, you know, trying to watch exactly what it is that I'm eating and my calorie intake and stuff. So, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Have you reached out to the dietitian that was working with you and to talk about this?
I've spoken to, I went to the dietitian. I saw her, that was like back in October, and she was saying that, oh, do 2 shakes a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I know a lot of it is mental.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, I am going for therapy for that.
Okay.
You know,
Good. So you are getting the support.
A lot of it is, you know, is mental.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to fall back into old habits, especially when you're stressed and you got a lot of things going on and everything is so, you know, I know a lot of people may look at it, oh, you had surgery, oh, it's so easy. No, it's not.
Yeah, and it's understandable. I can absolutely understand how you can be very motivated and stick to your healthy eating habits and lifestyle when you are losing weight rapidly. But when that gratification is not there anymore, then you can start being like, well, why am I even doing this? You know, because it's not going anywhere. That's why I bring this question up. I want to hear another post-op. Tell me about your weight loss expectations and how does that compare to, you know, your reality right now?
I've been 3 years. I lost 123 pounds. And it came out good.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose anymore. I don't think I could anyway.
Okay. So.
I feel a whole lot better. I wish I'd done 50 years ago.
Is there anything that you have, because you've probably thought about this a lot, about your journey, is there anything that you did that you think that led to this continuous weight loss?
I stuck to that diet very religiously.
Okay. So to you're saying the recommendations that your dietitian gave you and your doctor gave you?
And Vicky at the time. Very supporting.
Right. Okay. Good.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. So that's good. That's a positive. So that's kind of like saying that you just have to keep going back to the basics, you know? If you ever feel that your weight loss is slowing down and you're struggling a bit, there can be many reasons, but that's one of the things that you can check and see to help you continue losing some weight. That's great. Any other post-op that might want to share their personal experience, their expectations before weight loss, and how does that compare to now? Yep.
I think these little sessions like you're going right through now, we done now this way back when Vicky was here. I thought those helped a lot because it gives everybody a chance to see what you're losing and a little competition in there, I think maybe. I can't come in here and say I didn't lose any weight in a month. I got to have lost some weight, so you're going to try harder, I think.
Right, and what I want is this is a non-judgmental, you know, environment, and I think this is the best moment to voice your concern if you are frustrated, or disappointed or defeated, like you said, because I think, you know, I can provide some good tips, but better than the tips that I can provide is the tips that the other patients that have gone through it can provide. So never feel like that pressure that you need to lose as much as someone else, because everyone's different, every body is different, so, you know, just.
I think it depends on which surgery you have also.
Yep, one surgery can lead to more weight loss than the other, but not necessarily.
One's a little slower than the other.
Yeah, I've seen absolutely great success with both surgeries. It really has to do a lot with that eating plan, the behavioral changes, the physical activity, coming to see the doctor, coming to support group to help you, you know, pick yourself back up whenever you are feeling a bit frustrated or defeated. So I've seen really good weight loss with both. It really is more dependent on the patient, because the patient ultimately is driving the bus.
Except the bus keeps having a flat tire.
See, that's how I feel.
I was just getting going, and then I had to have my knee worked on. So.
And that's life. It's always going to bring up challenges, and I try to empower my patients to look farther away than those challenges. You know, look through them and say, you know, okay, I have pain in my knees, I have pain in my hips, let me talk to my doctor and see if there are some seated exercises where I can, you know, pump some iron in my arms or work out some abs while I'm sitting down, and so that I can at least use some energy. And I always try to help my patients think of new ways to getting to that goal that they want, because I absolutely understand that, yeah, flat tires happen and a lot more happens to the
Well,
car.
I'm planning, you know, get back to Francis Meadows, and I'm in this new step up thing.
Right, Francis Meadows for swimming, right, which is a great thing to do if you have joint pain or.
This bariatric foodie thing is a good one to check
Well,
out.
that joint pain, though, is because you're overweight.
Mhm. Yeah, and there's other reasons as well. Mhm.
And then send it to,
Yeah, and
was to me.
yeah,
I
bringing
had
that
both
weight.
knees replaced.
Mhm.
We never thought I got started earlier in my life, I don't think I'd have to.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah. Is there another post-op patient that wants to share their experience?
I went to the doctor this week and they said that I wasn't losing enough weight fast enough,
Mhm.
and I'm following. I mean, I'm not even eating what I'm supposed to be eating,
Mhm.
and it's really frustrating.
Mhm. Mhm. So it's frustrating to feel that you're not even eating enough as much as they ask you to, and you're not losing weight. So that's another thing to reassess, because we also, you know, our bodies, we also have to make sure that our bodies are nourished, you know. When you provide your body too little calories, typically what our bodies do is that it slows down its metabolism, because it's saying, all right, there's war outside or something, I'm not getting enough food, so I'm just going to slow down my metabolism, and I'm not going to use energy as efficiently, because I don't know if I'm going to get enough in the rest of the day. So, but I can understand that part of the difficulty of getting enough food in is how you feel, how your GI system feels, if you have nausea or any kind of discomfort. But I always try to encourage patients to try and get in at least that minimum amount of food that we recommend, because we want to make sure that you don't go the opposite route of becoming malnourished, which can be very detrimental. So if that continues to be a challenge, keep working, you know, with me and with Jennifer, and just as much support as you can get to help you, you know, make sure that you do get enough food, but that is food that will continue driving that weight loss. But I can understand it is difficult sometimes for some patients to.
Yeah, he got mad at me for not losing enough too.
Yeah. And it's.
I was losing steadily, but not a whole bunch at once.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and there's also another indicator of weight loss is measurements. So if you see that, or you feel that you are losing weight, but when you go see the doctor, the scale is not really showing that, ask the doctor or the nurse or dietitian to run some measurements, waist measurements, arm, legs, and sometimes that tells a bigger story than the actual scale, because there's a lot of fluctuation in our fluid status. Maybe you had more more contents in your GI that morning when you weigh yourself, and yeah, so sometimes getting that measurement is really helpful, and they won't offer that.
Yeah, they don't.
So I would just ask, because there should be a tape measurement at the clinic. I always have one, and I sometimes forget to offer it to patients, but it is a good way to know more of that weight loss story, not just the numbers.
Because for one thing, muscle weighs more than fat.
Right, and if you're doing exercise, then and building up muscle mass, then that's gonna make you weigh a bit more. So it could balance out that scale. You might be losing fat mass, but you're gaining muscle mass, so you don't see a big change in that scale. So I think the measurements is a really good indicative. Okay. So and this is a question for anyone, pre-op, post-op. Do you know what is the actual weight loss expectations after weight loss surgery?
more than a pound a week.
Okay, yes. But how does the trend look like? Have you been told about this
They said I was
yet? The
supposed to
pre-ops?
lose the most the first 6 months after surgery.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it makes sense because you're going from liquids to full liquids to pureed foods, so yes, that's a big reason for that. So when you start consuming more of those solid foods, that's also gonna, slow down a bit your weight. But does anyone know what the weight loss trend is expected to be in weight loss surgery patients? No. Okay, so for the weight will stabilize around month 12 and 18. And it could be different for anyone. So for someone may stabilize around month number 12, and for one may stabilize around month 18. But that's what's expected. It's in the books. Expected that a weight loss surgery patient will have their weight will stabilize a bit around that time. Okay. And not only that, the trend is not expected to be like this. It's expected to be more like a staircase. So you have a bit of a plateau, and then you lose some. And then you have a plateau, and you lose some. It's more of that staircase trend rather than a line like this. And I think it's very important, especially for those pre-op patients, to have this in mind, because if you know that out of the bat before you even go into weight loss surgery, when that time comes, you know that there's nothing wrong with you, or nothing that you're doing wrong, or you're not adhering to the recommendations. It's just what is expected of a weight loss surgery patient. Okay? All right. So what may be possible reasons for weight loss plateaus? So we know that the weight loss trend for a patient is kind of like a staircase. So we expect that plateau to happen, but we expect also that plateau to break, and you'll have some weight loss and then go into a bit of a plateau and then some weight loss. But if you feel that that plateau has been going on and on and on for a while, post-op patients, what do you think could be reasons or things that could lead to that?
Something that I'm eating. Something that I could be eating.
Right. So we are busy with life and so many things that it's hard to sometimes remember, okay, I have to be mindful of what I'm eating. You can get back into the habit of worrying more about everything that's around you and not worrying on about that meal plan. So yeah, that could be something. So is there a way that you would suggest to kind of be more mindful with what you're eating? Is there anything that you guys have tried, the post-op patients?
Set an alarm.
Setting an alarm for meal times? That has helped you?
Because I'm not hungry until like 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Right.
So I have to make myself.
Right. So that's excellent. Same as you might put an alarm for like a pill, a medication, then you could do that for meal times. Yes.
One thing that has helped me a lot is I've got a very stubborn old mule over here that very much watches what I eat.
Yeah.
So do you really need all that?
Are you sure you really need that?
That is awesome.
It does help.
I mean, that is.
I'll put far.
Yeah. So that's your support system, and that is very, very important. But we know that there's patients that have no support. I mean, there's patients. So I feel super fortunate and always be happy about that. There are patients that have no support.
We support each other on that too.
Because.
But don't give up. Let you push yourself into.
Mm-hmm.
It can be one of those that falls off. But I just have a.
Well, I know when it comes.
While you're at 8, I go back over that every once in a while, just checking, making sure that I won't go stretching the things out.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed in line very good, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
What I expected to do,
Mhm.
but don't give up, that's a big thing.
Right.
It's like I don't feel like making dinner at night, but I have a teenage granddaughter living with me, and my brother, and he's a heart patient, so we have to eat healthy anyway. But it's just, oh, I gotta go make dinner. I used to
Yeah.
love cooking. Now it's like I make dinner, I get 2 bites. What the heck is this?
You reach the proud of yourself after you lose 100 pounds, you can't stop, you're only gonna lose more.
Yeah, I'm just right at that plateau.
Right. So I'm seeing a lot of positive talk in the head, and that's the mental piece that you were talking about.
Yeah.
It is so powerful, and I don't know if this works when I tell my patients, but I tell my patients I try to empower them to become their own coach. Okay, because they come to see me and they say, I love this because you're my coach and I have accountability, and I get so happy when they say that, because as a dietitian, yes, I'm one of your health coaches, but I don't want you to not be your own coach. If you practice and you get better at being your own coach, oh my gosh, what you can accomplish. So I might have said this before, I don't remember, I feel like I've said it a couple of times to people, and I don't know if it was this group, but when I was in college, to become a dietitian, I needed to get a B+ minimum in all my science classes, and chemistry, although it was interesting, I was having a very, very challenging time with that, and I am not going to lie, I got a C+ twice. Yes. And when I did it the second time and I got my grade, I was like, Giselle, you're gonna keep putting excuses to yourself that the class is too hard, that the professor doesn't know how to teach it, that this and that you have volleyball so you don't have time. And then I was like, no, this is it. I want to be a dietitian and I need to get a B+ in this chemistry class. I'm never gonna have to explain chemistry to my patients, so just get through this and you will be fine. So I started waking up every morning and looking at myself in the mirror and be like, want to be a dietitian? Yes. Then you need to get a B+ in chemistry. Yes, you do, ma'am. And I answer myself. People say you become crazy when you answer yourself, but it worked. It worked for me. Yes, you want to be a dietitian. So for every hour that you are in your science class, you need to study 2 hours at home. No excuses. And that's how you're going to pass this class. And I passed the class with a B+, and my professor, he was like, finally. Get rid of this girl. Man, how many years she was going to stay here. So that taught me a really big lesson, that really we have so much power in our mind. Like, we can empower ourselves so much. And yes, reach out for support. That's what Northeast Georgia Medical Center is for you guys. You know, if you feel that you don't have the support at home, come see us more often. But I empower you to be your own coach. Practice doing that and you will start, I mean, it really does help. All right.
I use sticky notes on the mirror.
Sticky notes? Yeah, so if that works. For me, it was talking to myself in the mirror.
Well, I do that too.
Okay. Yeah, or actually, now that we're in that line, is there anything that you guys do, maybe not for eating healthy, but for other stuff? Maybe it's work, or maybe it's something else that there's certain habits that you've put in place to help you, meet your goals. Is there anything that you guys do that you might want to share with other patients? Nothing?
Just take it one day at a time.
Okay, so
You have your goals, but
right.
and make the goals reasonable.
Right. That is excellent. Reasonable goals. Thinking about it, let me do this one day at a time. Absolutely.
And try to keep yourself busy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I know for me, that's kind of hard as being a stay-at-home mom. Just trying to keep myself busy. I'm busy once the kids come in through the door, and then in the very beginning, but then after everybody leaves, and it's like, okay, now what? So now I'm just trying to do things in the house that need to be done to kind of keep me focused and to try and keep my mind off of
Food.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and trying to get my water in.
Right.
That's the fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in one of the support groups, I did mention some. So you know the Quinlan Arts Center in Gainesville. So I don't know if you're artistic or not, but if there are some community resources out there that you can become a member of the Quinlan Arts Center and take some pottery classes. I don't know, to get to put something in your schedule, and doing things like that helps. And you have something to look forward to, I feel, which is nice as well.
Crochet.
Yeah. I've never tried it, but I know a whole lot of people that do it. Yeah.
I did until my carpal tunnel took over.
Yep. Okay. So what may be possible reasons for weight loss plateaus? I have written down 2 reasons here that are more about, the anatomy of the GI, but you had mentioned how it was maybe something different that you were eating. Anything else that you think may lead to a weight loss plateau?
Your body readjusting.
Oh, wait, what? I can't follow. Stress. Okay. Stress that leads to
Overeating. Just picking up the bad habits.
Right. So a good approach to that, if you found that maybe the problem is stress, then trying to see how you can, find some resources to help you manage stress. I have a lot of patients that see a therapist, and it helps them so much. There are apps that teach you how to meditate. Don't feel like this is some kind of like weirdo hippie stuff. I mean,
I have a meditation one on my
yeah. Because the whole thing about meditation is learning to clear your mind. It might look funny because they go like this, and it looks like some kind of ritual, but really the point is learning how to clear your mind and helps release those stress levels. So if you do notice that, then trying to find some ways to manage the stress would be really helpful to prevent future weight loss plateaus. So we're all different, and we all have different reasons why we might reach that plateau. The good thing is to be mindful, to recognize that and say, okay, what can I do about this? Because this just continues to happen, and I need to do something about it. Okay. For the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass patients, the GI tract actually may adapt over time and allow for better absorption of those foods high in fat. So our GI system is very smart. I mean, our bodies are incredible. They adapt very easily to a lot of different things, and one of those is that initially the absorption part might not function very well, which helps drive that weight loss, but then the GI system adapts and it does start to absorb fats a bit better. So what do you think would be the smart thing to do now that you know that? What would be the smart thing to do to avoid, some weight regain or like a long plateau?
Look in the mirror right now. Look in the mirror.
And you said it earlier how you were like strict with the recommendations that you were giving at the clinic. When we give you recommendations, it's not to make your life more difficult. It really is science-based. It is challenging, but it really is science-based nutrition information that's going to help you be successful with your weight loss journey. So if we recommend lower fat and higher protein, then keeping consistent with that recommendation when that malabsorptive part starts to adapt and be better at absorbing. If you have that high protein, lower fat diet like we recommend, then that's going to avoid that regain. So keeping those things in mind. And then also the size of the gastric pouch for the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass could change over time. And patients can actually tolerate higher volumes. So that's why it's also important to learn about, you know, proper portion sizes. Initially, you might need to, for the pre-op patients, you might need to use a lot of measuring cups and measuring spoons because you might not know. She's laughing, okay. Because you don't know really exactly what half a cup looks like, but let me tell you, when you're doing this for a very long time, you can look at the plate and be like, all right, that's 2 tablespoons, 2.5 tablespoons. Yep, and then you measure it, and yeah, that's what it is. So keeping the portion sizes like the dietitian and your doctors recommend helps prevent that weight regain or plateau. Okay. All right. I have here some other notes of other habits that may seem harmless but could actually slow down your weight loss. Does anyone else have any ideas or any post-op patient that maybe if you know someone else that has gone through surgery and you noticed that they were doing something a bit differently that you knew that could lead to that weight regain?
Each individual is different though. Each individual is altogether different. I mean, I would think it'd be hard to hold anybody to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everyone's different. So one of the things is frequent meals. So what's called grazing is one of the things that most patients that have weight regain start doing some grazing because they're trained and taught to eat these small portions, and you know, with the restriction that we've created in the stomach, you can't tolerate a large volume of food. So what they might do is, okay, so I'll have 2 bites now, I'll wait 30 minutes and have 2 bites of this, and I'll wait 40 minutes and I'll have 2 bites of that, and that way you can end up consuming a lot more calories than you might think. So grazing is one of those things that sometimes patients have challenges with after weight loss surgery. So if you notice that you have some regain, that could be something to look at. Okay, am I sticking to the meal times that I'm supposed to stick to, or am I starting to add more snacks in between those meal times? And that could be a good way to catch it. Also, another thing is, and you mentioned it earlier, how you're not hungry in the beginning of the day, so then that could lead to most of the calories or all the calories consumed at night. And that can also lead to some weight regain. So that's why the meal pattern from day to day, it is so important. Trying to eat as close as you can at the same times of day by day. So what I tell patients is there can be like a 2-hour window. You know, if you had breakfast today at 9, it doesn't mean that you screwed it all up if you had breakfast at 9:30. You know, you have like about a 2-hour window, I'm gonna say. And if you can try and be consistent day by day, and it can be challenging when you have a busy life, when you have a lot of commitments, but that's where the dietitian comes in and collaborates with you to come up with a plan. If you can predict some of your busy days, to plan ahead for that. I don't know if any of the post-op have, with their experience, we're able to learn, you know, or learn how to plan for some busy days, or anything that you've tried.
I've just learned from coming to, like, starting out, coming here, I always have to pack my lunch and snacks and put them in a cooler bag to bring with me.
Right.
And water.
Yeah, and that has been working out for you? Okay. And was that something that you were thinking about before? Or is that something that you had to learn to
I
do?
would just go through the drive-through somewhere and grab something.
Right?
So now I'm having to stop and think, well, where's it going to be healthy, and is there going to be something healthy where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
If not, I just usually prepare ahead.
Yeah, yeah, that's really good. And I remember this reminds me of a patient that told me that her and her husband like to go at least once a week to go eat out somewhere. We don't encourage eating out, but life is life. It happens. That's what they like to do to socialize. And the patient that got the weight loss surgery done, she looks at the menu ahead of time so that way she knows what she's going to order when she gets there. And there's no stress when she gets to a restaurant because she knows exactly what to get. She knows if she needs to order like a to-go box or something like that to take the rest or whatever. So planning ahead of time. And these are things that don't come naturally to us because there was no need before. But those are changes that if we get used to doing that, it makes it so much easier to eat healthy.
I always carry a meal bar in my purse in case of emergencies.
Yeah, yeah. Heck, when I'm in the morning, I just banana. Yeah, that sounds good. Like, orange, okay. Maybe some of this, some of that, okay. And it doesn't mean that that's all gonna be eaten. It's just I tell my patients, arming yourself with healthy meals, healthy snacks in case something unexpected happens and you want to have something healthy to eat at that time. When you learn these behaviors, it just makes it so much easier. Okay.
What do you think of these protein bars? What's your thoughts on these protein bars that they have?
What's protein bars?
The protein bars, yeah.
That's what I used to have at 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock on my breaks. And it was as good as meal.
Yeah.
It filled me up to where I felt like I could
Yeah.
go to work.
Yeah.
Well, you have to do research because of the carbohydrates and the sugars they can throw in there.
Right, exactly. So here for the pre-op patients, you will get really good education on what are the guidelines for a healthy protein bar. So it should have about, I think it's 6 or 7 grams or less of carbohydrates in one sitting when you eat it. It's got to have at least like 12 grams of protein, and just try to get something that's not 200 or 250 calories in one sitting. So protein bars can absolutely be a very easy way to get that protein intake, which is so important. So yeah.
That's what I was after, was protein. At the time when I first started on doing all this, I was helping my neighbor clear his land and at work. And there'd be times when I'd get goofy and feel like I was going to pass out something.
Yeah.
Grab a bar and start eating the bar and go away and go back to work.
Yep. Absolutely. And then for the gastric bypass patients, drinking during meals can lead to some weight loss regain because pretty much what you're doing is that you're flushing down the food into your system because the gastric bypass patients, they don't have that valve that separates the stomach with the intestine, so it just goes down, and it can make you feel less full when you finish the meal if you've been drinking at the same time that you eat. So that's one of those behaviors that when we say, wait 30 minutes after a meal to drink, we're not just, again, saying this to make life more difficult. There are like legitimate reasons to help avoid, complications and to help you feel more satisfied at the end of your meal. Okay? All right. So some of the tips that I have for you is if you notice a weight loss plateau or you're regaining some weight, go back to the basics. Take out all the package of information that you got when you were, starting in this journey. Go through all of that. You might notice some things that you've gotten a bit far away from and not doing anymore, and go back to the basics. Some patients like writing down in a food journal to help them help them pinpoint what is that is maybe causing this regain. So you could say, okay, I'm gonna do a food journal for 2 weeks, and I'm gonna call a dietitian and see if we can set up an appointment for her to look at it and help me figure out, if there's anything that's going on that might be leading to this weight regain. Okay? And also exercising regularly. So that's really good that you're focusing on that. That's something that is recommended for patients that are experiencing a plateau or that their weight loss has slowed down. Definitely, no matter how frustrated you feel, be consistent with that exercise, because the exercise is not only beneficial for just burning calories and losing weight. It's just beneficial for so many other things. Helps reduce stress levels. It keeps your muscles and bones strong. So there are so many other fantastic reasons to do exercise that a weight loss plateau should not discourage you from continuing that exercise regimen. Keep at it. All right. Okay. Do you have any questions or comments? Anything else that you want to add?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? I see a lot on the websites about pouch reset.
Pouch reset?
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that term. Does that mean like the dilation of the anastomosis?
No, it's like to reset, I guess, like your shrink it, yeah, basically.
Okay.
And I've seen that a lot, but I know some people say it's all psychological. So I didn't know, like, what was your...
Right.
Because they said that, when you do a pouch reset, it's like you're going back to, like, the very beginning. Like, when you had to do the liquid, and then you're doing the soft food, and then before you start to
over a week's time.
Yeah, something
I don't know the evidence behind that. Do you know?
I can tell you that through the years I've had patients that would come back to the clinic and say, I don't have the restriction. I don't feel like I have the restriction I did before, and they wondered if they had stretched their pouch out or had a gastric outlet dilation. But what's interesting is the majority of patients that come in, when they go and they do an upper GI, right, swallow the contrast, they look at what the pouch looks like, and the radiologist measures it. 9 times out of 10, there's no change in the size. And so it's interesting, but when you do a reset, right, mentally and physically, I don't know how many of you guys remember this from going through the pre-op diet, or maybe for those who haven't even started it yet, but the first 3 days when you either do a reset or you're like doing the pre-op diet for yourself before surgery, the first 3 days are very hard.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Any ideas? What's going on the first 3 days?
You're like going through withdrawal.
You're detoxing, right? And so the first 3 days are very difficult, but then after that, it really does change how you feel and how you think, because you a lot of times no longer have as many cravings as you did before. So I think that when people do a reset like that, it really is just getting back to the basics and resetting your frame of mind as to what you're paying attention to, what you're like you were talking about the meal planning. You focus on those things more.
But yeah, I've been a lot of headaches.
That's from withdrawal.
I never got headaches before.
That's from withdrawal, not only from caffeine sometimes, but from carbs in general.
Sugar, but
So that's a great idea to do a reset. Like if you feel like you've noticed, like you're creeping up a little bit and you want to get that under control, but it really is more about you mentally getting in the mindset and the habits. That tool's still there.
Yeah.
You just gotta remember how to use it.
And even if you feel like you have no idea, you feel like you're doing things right, do still go through all that content, all that awesome information that we've provided, and just read it slowly again, and just you might realize, oh, actually I'm not maybe doing this the way that they had suggested initially, and going back to the basics.
So here recently, since I've been on the diet, I've only been able to get like this month, the maximum amount of calories I can get is about 1,300. I'm like, by the end of the day, I'm just so done with it.
Mhm.
Is those extra 200 calories gonna affect me?
You mean
Losing
you're supposed to
pre-op?
consume 1,500
I'm
and you only
supposed
get to
consume
1,300?
1,500, yes.
Okay, that is not alarming to me. 200 calories, because as long you do the best that you can. I don't think 200 calories is alarming.
It's so
Mhm.
annoying.
Well,
Mhm.
and what's interesting, another kind of common thread that I've learned through the years as well, is that when our patients focus so much on a high protein diet, right? That's what we do in bariatrics, because that protein is what's going to fill up your little pouch after surgery. But when you focus so much on protein, I've heard patients, and I know one of the bariatric surgeons I used to work with, he was like, well, that's kind of the point, right? You know?
Yeah.
But kind of similar, because you're saying, I'm kind of tired of it. Well, that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah. And your calorie needs change day by day. So, if you feel fine, then that's a good sign. If you feel weak and you don't have energy.
I've had the headaches here and there.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, it's just because I'll accidentally get a sip of a non-caffeine free soda or something, and
Mhm.
I'm
Yep.
out, and that's the only option is to have a diet soda because I don't have.
Questions? Concerns? All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Before anybody leaves, and you guys are probably going to get sick of hearing me say this at every support group, but I've noticed that only half of the folks in the room have signed up, like just say that I've been here. But I want y'all to understand why it's so important, and I even want like support people to sign in, because we count how many people come to every single support group, and what it does for me as the bariatric program manager, it helps me to justify to continue support group. But also, yes, exactly, this room, other things that we're trying to add. So if anybody hasn't, I'd love it if you could help me do that.
An email on it, and she hasn't signed.
Okay,
Yeah, on your way out as
we need
well.
to, let me send down a pen as
Yep.
well. We can just send it around, or is it easier if I put it at the back as people leave? Let me do that. That way, just as people walk out. But thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for participating, and we see you in the next one.
Hey Giselle, I'm confused about this. Okay, you gave me this. Here's the dates. It's at 10 o'clock, right? Is that all right there? What is this then? Is it now in the evenings? Is it what?
So we do multiple support groups, not just this Friday. So the second Tuesday at 4 p.m. is going to be a pre-op class followed by support group. That's something that we just added, and we don't even have. This is a question for Amy, my boss. She thinks that this is going to be really helpful for patients with head-bone surgery. Something that,
Yeah.
this is something that we weren't offering before.
Yeah, the 10 o'clock on Fridays.
Yep.
This one.
Exactly. Friday, 10 o'clock. That's this one. Second Friday.
This is alumni support.
So alumni.
I'm
Yes. Right.
She been silent.
Because this is the alumni support group. She just went upstairs.
Okay, so this right now.
This is for both. Post-op and pre-op. So I apologize. We're going through a lot of changes right now, but she went quickly.
Wrong.
Yes. Let's go over
I
there.
gotta tell you, you are the cutest thing.
Oh, thank you.
You don't ask ladies.
No, it's okay. I'm 26.
Aw, that's so cute. So that's not good. This one.
That's very good.
I still, if I wanna come next month, I would come on April the 12th at 10 o'clock. Cause I really thought, okay, now,
That is,
wait a minute.
yes.
What?
Because I get a bit nervous because this is the first time I'm doing this.
Oh, you're so cute.
Good.
I'm gonna go upstairs.
Yeah. And we're gonna go to a meeting, so we'll be back between 1:15 and 1:30.